their course. 2,370 metres as they're called into their starting positions. This start, Harrison, I think is quite kind, isn't it? It's slightly downhill, the camber isn't ideal really, but apart from that, if you get yourself a good footing and you get underway quickly, as we'll see these athletes do, you can really gain a big margin on this start, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. Not too muddy either, and separating the athletes into the pens, of course, stop a bit of the fight on the start line. So ideal if you want to get a quick start, move to the front of your pen, talk to your team, get to the front and hopefully get a bit of a decent start, get to the front of the group heading into the first corner, as we can see them approaching that corner now.
And I love that shot. Few shots better than that in the world of athletics, a cross-country start. And as you can see, there's quite a fair bit of spacing between the athletes early on in this one. Like we said, that slightly downhill start, if you get yourself a good footing and a good position, you can really gain a decent advantage. You can see a few of the athletes sticking with the colour of their school vests there, so already split off and keeping the athletes that they've maybe raced for at school level and at club level as well around them. Slightly uphill, and I think the camera angle there, Harrison, slightly deceiving. That stretch as they come up, slightly uphill there.
Yeah, ever so slightly uphill, but as we said earlier, it's not too muddy there. It's good conditions, so they should have no problems getting up that hill as they go across this top flat section now before they go back down the hill, back for another lap of this field.
You can see a number of the light blue vests there. That's Guildford High School. Kitty Scott leading the way in that number 1 vest, aptly so, through the early stages of this junior girls race. She's had a great start to her season so far. Second at this year's London Mini Marathon. She was third in the competition last time out last year, but also first in the cup final on the track over 1,500 metres. She's had a busy season, but it doesn't look to be affecting her so far. A brilliant start for the Guildford High School youngster who starting to stretch out the field here.
Great to see so many spectators round onto what is not the start-finish field, the course. Always great to have support all the way around. As a athlete myself, I know some parts of cross-country courses tend to get lonely, don't they, Ellen?
Yeah, and that's one of the brilliant things about how well thought through this cross-country course is. There's so many access points for spectators to see these junior athletes, especially in these early races. The support from their parents, their teachers. Obviously, this is a school team event, and I know the school staff will be out in numbers cheering on their young athletes. You can see there 3, make that 4 even, Guildford High School vests, that light blue. This is a team competition, and they're currently putting themselves in a very, very good position to take that cup in the junior girls race.
Some gaps just starting to appear here. We can see that early pace really starting to damage the field a bit.
Yeah, it makes such a difference, doesn't it, Harrison, when you've got your team members around you and you can use them and you're used to training in these conditions. It makes runs like this slightly less pressured if you're used to training with the athletes either side of you who you're racing with, and I'm sure that will take a little bit of the pressure off these front 3. Alongside Kitty Scott is Tilly Robertson. She was 5th in the London Mini Marathon. She was actually first in this event last year in Newquay, but it is her club team mate Kitty Scott who is currently just edging away. The long white socks in the mix as well there. Zoe Allen wearing number 7 as they go through the trees. There's a lot of variety on this course, isn't there, Harrison? You know, it's not just those long open stretches and the hills going through the woods. It's a little change of scenery, which is nice, isn't it? You know, when you've got these sort of long, vast expanses, but then also an opportunity just to see something different when you're running.
Yeah, definitely. You always want a bit of a change of terrain, maybe a hill here, downhill there. Keeps it interesting. Very similar course to Mansfield, where the national cross-country relays were held just a few weeks ago. But it's good to see some of the younger athletes getting an opportunity to run on such a lovely course, especially as it's held on school grounds here. The grammar school at Leeds, of course, competing this weekend.
Yeah, and that's Summer Smith, you can see, alongside Kitty Scott, the Havering AC athlete. She was 8th at the mini marathon. She comes off the back of one of her busiest seasons so far as a young athlete. Came very close to dipping under 5 minutes over 1,500 metres on the track this season. You can see this long downhill, which twists then into a steep uphill. And if you can take the momentum from this long stretch of downhill, you can really make gains on that short, sharp uphill, can't you, Harrison?
Yeah, definitely. And it looks very muddy down there, but from our experience, having walked the course this morning, it's actually very compact ground, very hard soil. So not as muddy as it looks. Very good conditions to run on. Almost grass-like, I'd say. But yeah, definitely.
And these junior athletes, the junior girls and junior boys to follow, they'll have the best conditions of the day. You know, this track, apart from those of us who have walked around and run around already for warm-ups, relatively untrod. And Kitty Scott wearing number 1, very aptly so, leading the way. She has done from the start. Looks like she'll improve almost certainly on her 3rd place finish in the competition last year. Summer Smith just taking a look behind her there. And as much as individual performances are on merit here, it is a team competition, and we can still see those Guildford High School vests very much up there. Tilly Robertson just lingering behind Summer Smith.
Great to see such confidence from such a young lady, taking the race very early on herself, happy to do the work, happy to, yeah, do it all herself and get her own way and make sure she get a gap so she could try and take the win. And it looks like she might just do that.
Yeah, confident racing from this young athlete. Remember, the junior girls and junior boys, these are year 7 and 8 athletes. She takes that sharp bend, and from here, she has a fairly downhill stretch, about 150 metres before she'll hit the 100-metre mark, and that's where there's a slight incline. This is another nice downhill stretch before she has to really push into that sprint. As you can see, just opening her stride before Kitty Scott will take the bend and hit 100 metres to go. Summer Smith behind her, wearing bib number 43. But it is Kitty Scott who will take the win today. A 2-place improvement on her performance last year, and a dominant run. 8 minutes 19. And moving up into second, her teammate Tilly Robertson, who just pipped Summer Smith. Zoe Allen and Jessica Allen behind.